This video is being recorded during the WGA and SAG strike. I'm in support of all writers and actors asking for fair pay. These TV shows would not be possible without their hard work. A way to donate to their cause is in the description. Hello everyone, welcome back to Flying Solo with Kat, and today I'm super excited to talk about episode 1 and episode 2 of Ahsoka, the series. And oh my gosh, I have so many thoughts. I was not able to actually watch it on the premiere, which is super sad. I do have a life, surprisingly. But I did just watch it. And oh my goodness, there's so many things to talk about. So in this episode, I'm going to go over my favorite parts, hopefully in order. I'm going to try to stay in order so it's not as confusing. And also just my predictions for where episode 3 is going to lead us. So, hope you guys enjoy. Oh, also, very major spoilers. So, if you've not seen Ahsoka, I don't know what you're doing watching this video. Go watch Ahsoka and then come back and listen to my thoughts. And I also want to hear your guys' thoughts as well in the comments. So, feel free to do that. And hope you guys enjoy. So, episode 1, we first see a New Republic Star Cruiser, and when I first saw the Rebel logo with the stars around it, I geeked out. I was like, yes, the New Republic. Oh, I hate them so much, but I'm really excited that they're gonna get shown in a new light in this show. And oh my gosh, we got that. My expectations were shot through the roof. Honestly, amazing. So we see this cruiser, and it gets boarded on by Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. And Baylan Skoll seems to be this I kind of saw him as a Count Dooku, very much kind of a soft-spoken, professional type Sith. And his Padawan, Shin Hati, and we don't really, well, now that I say this, I'm kind of thinking of different things, because we do have kind of like a Maul and Ezra type thing with master and apprentice, and then you have, you had Dooku and you had Saz Ventress, and then you had also Maul with Savage. So Sith do tend to have Padawans and stuff, but that's all in Clone Wars. So to have that in live action is super freaking cool. And I already fell in love with Shin Hati, just her entire look. Absolutely amazing. Oh my god, I'm free on Thursdays, so give me a call. But I love Baylan Skoll as well, and just his presence is very, very powerful. Their entrance into the Rebel ship was super freaking cool. Not Rebel ship, New Republic was super cool. It very much gave me vibes of Darth Vader, and I think that's honestly what Dave Filoni was going for. Even when he was walking down a hallway, he just had the dark silhouette. I will also say the cinematography in this show is very good. I would say it's in between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor, which is a great medium. It's definitely better though than Mando from what I've seen. So good job to you guys. You guys are doing great. But it was just an amazing entrance. The music, also the score for this show, I've heard just people raving about it, and it's spectacular. It is absolutely phenomenal. It really does kind of have a lot of influence from the original John Williams score, with a lot of French horns and kind of with violins that are going really fast. I really like that. And I mean, y'all know I love John Williams, so this is just really something special. And just that opening sequence, I knew it was going to be a different Star Wars show. I immediately knew. I mean, we even had an opening scroll to where it had a lot of kind of a recap, and that was really cool. And I think for Dave that was purposeful, and it really felt like these 2 episodes were done with such care. And in the first episode, you even have Ahsoka doing a puzzle to try to find the map to Thrawn, and she literally, that sequence probably takes up 2.5 minutes, which sounds quick, but when you're just having a character without speaking turn like a dial, it is a little dragging, but that's just my opinion. That's like, it's important to show that because it shows how her mind works. And also it gives a really great nod to Cal Kestis in Jedi Survivor when you're playing that game and you have all those puzzles to do and you have to turn them and all that, which was really, really cool. But then also for me, it gave me major Indiana Jones vibes, which I don't know if that was intentional, but I kind of got that also with the score during that part. So that was also really cool. But in a lot of scenes, you have characters with no dialogue, with, by themselves, that are just doing simple tasks. And I think that's like so purposeful from Dave Filoni because you're really trying to think of what the character's thinking without having the character flat out say, I don't know what this puzzle is. I'm just going to turn it and see what happens. Oh, maybe it does this. Oh, it connects to that. They don't need to say that, and Dave is smart enough to know they don't, and the writers especially. And having those silent moments with the characters gets you to really appreciate, for one, their character design, their what they're wearing, and kind of like their story. And kind of you have that time to kind of recoup and kind of recap yourself and like where this character's at. And I found that really, really nice. Like I said, maybe a bit long, but that's just me complaining. We got to see Hera in live action. Man, I don't know why people were complaining. She looks fine. Like, no one is gonna look like their Clone Wars counterpart or their Rebels counterpart. I'm sorry. It's not gonna happen. Like, you can do stuff in animation and you could do stuff in live action, but animation can never transfer over to live action. Never. You can never. No, it's just impossible. You could definitely have live action transferred over to animation. That's super easy. But having animated features transfer into live action is very hard because animation breaks a lot of rules for when you are filmmaking. And I think people just don't realize that. And to get certain character designs correct and have them look good in animation will never transfer over to live action because it's a completely different medium. So she looks fine. I actually really like her actress, which is funny because it's actually Ian McGregor's wife, so he has great taste. But she was amazing. I loved her Leku, and just honestly, like, her entire outfit was just really killing it. I really didn't think I would see that much from her, though. So that was really surprising to me, but a bit concerning because I don't know if we're going to see more of her after these first 2 episodes. But she was really there to kind of remind Ahsoka that Sabine wants to help. And she was that mother figure for Sabine, which I really felt was really special because that's how, I took how their relationship was in Rebels. And for Hera to have this just outlook on Sabine, yeah, she messed up like really bad, but she wants another chance and she wants the opportunity to find Ezra and to fix everything. And with Ahsoka, she's very much like put herself off from anyone and everything. Sabine even asks her, "Where are you living? Where's your home?" And Ahsoka answers with, "The ship is my home." So Ahsoka's constantly moving around, and the only person that she has is Huyang. And respectfully, I love Huyang, but he's a robot. So Ahsoka does not have anyone really besides Huyang. And that's such a lonely life. But there were many comments to where it almost seemed like she blamed herself for Anakin's betrayal, which is really, really interesting. Because if we remember, technically they saw each other right before Revenge of the Sith happened in Clone Wars Season 7. But they still left each other. And Ahsoka still left Anakin at the Jedi Temple. And to be honest, in my opinion, that's when the seeds were planted. When Palpatine really took full advantage. I mean, losing your Padawan is probably one of the hardest things a Jedi or even a Sith have to go through. And the mental bond that these people have is just so thorough. And the fact that Ahsoka even had to fight Darth Vader and talked to Anakin, and he full out said, I will kill you, I don't care. I mean, that's really hard on Ahsoka and also just on the Skywalker family as well. So Ahsoka being this kind of very quiet, very serious type person honestly makes so much sense. It really does. And I think Rosario Dawson does that. And I think honestly that's why they cast her as Ahsoka, because she brings such this monotone, like, it sounds bad, but she brings this monotone, soft spoken, very serious presence with Ahsoka. And I think that was super, super important when going into this show. And I'm excited to see how she progresses in her relationship with Sabine and also the relationship with herself and with her master, because people have been talking about Hayden Christensen showing up. So it's almost confirmed. I'm pretty sure it will happen, though, because this series revolves heavily around Master and Apprentice. And the fact that you have Baylan and Shin, Master and Apprentice, and now you have Ahsoka and Sabine, Master and Apprentice, is crazy. So very, very excited to see where that goes. The Ahsoka and Sabine drama is very interesting because a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people are like, "Well, why is she mad at Ahsoka? I don't understand." So, which is valid because they didn't really have many scenes together in Rebels. But with this, Ahsoka wasn't there when Ezra fought Thrawn. And of course, Ezra sacrificed himself and all of that. And it's very evident that Sabine blames Ahsoka for Ezra and Thrawn's disappearance. And it wasn't completely, she didn't say it out loud like, oh, I blame you for Thrawn and Ezra's, disappearance. No, it's in her actions and the way she says things and how she talks to Ahsoka, especially when Ahsoka said, I'm always there when they need me. And then Sabine replies with, not always. And it's very hostile, and I love it. I love it so much because I think Ahsoka needs to be brought down, like, 2 notches again. She's like an older version of her in the Clone Wars movie. Very, she knows what the heck she's doing. She's been in this game for, long enough. Even though she, really hasn't, and this is, a new world. And she needs to adapt to the new world and let the past go. And yeah, I really like the drama. I think it's gonna be really, really good. And I didn't like Sabine taking the orb out of the ship and then it getting taken, because that was very obvious that was gonna happen. I don't know. I just felt like it was trying to move the plot forward, and they just needed something to how to get the orb. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Oh my god, Lothcats, I'll just touch on that. And also Lothal as a planet. Lothal looks amazing. They did an amazing job. The VFX artist, love you, you're amazing. But also just the planets that you go to are just beautiful. Lothal is just absolutely amazing. Lothcats, oh boy, my wallet is already crying because freaking I want a Lothcat. So we'll see. But it's very, very well done. And the graphics on it are just absolutely beautiful. let's talk about, before we get into episode 2, Sabine getting Kylo'd or Revad, as you might say. Okay, look. Besides Qui-Gon Jinn, but Qui-Gon Jinn needed to die. He had to die. But also, this is my theory. If you get impaled from the front side, so the lightsaber goes into like your stomach from where you're facing, that makes sense. You don't die. It will it's going to mess up like internal organs, but like it's also a sci-fi series, so like it would be really surprising if they didn't have like treatment. Now with Qui-Gon, he was impaled, if I remember correctly. I probably am wrong, but I thought he was impaled into the back. And honestly, his spine would have been freaking broken, and like he probably died from like internal bleeding. And with like lightsaber cuts, when they go like in the front, like I feel like just all of that meshes together. Like I said, it's a very bad like excuse for kind of her surviving. I knew she wasn't gonna die though. So that's why I'm like, was it really necessary? I would have honestly preferred like an arm or a hand. That would have actually kind of done this is a new Sabine, not Mandalorian Sabine, not necessarily Sabine that was after Ezra's death, but now we have Jedi Sabine with a, new hand. I think that would have actually been better storytelling than her just getting impaled and then we just see her fine the next episode. And like, I get it. It happened with Kylo Ren. It happened with Reva. I get it. But I don't think it was necessary. So that was my only nitpick for episode 1. But other than that, absolutely amazing. Everything was on point, and it was a great way to get just introduced to these characters. I also will say I was watching it with someone who had never watched Rebels, Clone Wars, and didn't know much about Ahsoka, just that she was a character. And they told me it was really, really hard to follow kind of where things were. They said they got most of the story and they could follow along decently, but when they were naming Thrawn, when they were naming the Night Sisters, when they were naming just even Lothcats, it was kind of like, or Lothal as a planet, it was kind of like, okay, wait, what? Like, where are we? And I think that is a bit of a struggle for people trying to come in and get introduced to the series. Star Wars Explained, my favorite Star Wars podcast. Please go check them out. They're absolutely amazing. Did a 10-minute recap of all 4 seasons of Rebels. Amazing video. Oh my gosh. Literally, I have shared it with so many people. He does an amazing job of going over where we are now with Ahsoka and where we are now with the Ghost Crew. But of course, you're not going to expect everyone to watch a 10-minute video on a Rebels recap. I did. It's amazing. Go watch it. So that might be a bit of a struggle, and I think why people might get mad at the series, saying like, oh yeah, I didn't like it. It's not that you didn't like it, it's that you didn't understand what was going on. I promise you, probably, if you knew who these characters were and understood it a bit more, I think you would like it a lot more. But you can't expect everyone to do that, unfortunately. And with a lot of these shows, they do almost rely on your prior knowledge to the Star Wars universe. And someone who does not love it as much as me might have a harder time with the show. So I am a bit sad about that, but as it is, I think it's like really good. And as I said, Star Wars Explained, go watch their Rebels video. Absolutely amazing. Love their channel. Go give them some love. Episode 2, let's start with this. So Sabine is fine. Wow. Who was shocked? I'm really wow. Great writing. So, like, I don't know. I don't like the whole stabbing thing. Like I said, it would have been much better if she got a hand cut off or an arm or even a leg. Just, it just felt unnecessary. But besides that, everything was fine. I love Hu Yang. Oh my gosh. Like, I love David Tennant. If you don't know, I'm a huge Good Omens fan, and that's where I first saw him. And I know he's in Doctor Who, so there's also that. But I love David Tennant, and I could totally hear his voice in Hu Yang, and it just makes me love him way, way more. And Hu Yang is like such a great companion, for one, to Ahsoka, but also to Sabine. And I think he's going to be really fun to hang out with when they're going on their adventures. So I was super excited about him, and I love him. Sabina and Ezra's... Sabina? Whoa. Sabine and Ezra's lightsaber and what that means. What Hu Yang said is we find out that Sabine actually made modifications to Ezra's lightsaber because he did give it to her. And listen up, everyone. Hu Yang said, well, you made modifications, so now it's technically your lightsaber. Oh, what is that? Oh, it's Rey's lightsaber now? Oh, yeah, sorry. But, yeah, that's kind of been like the consensus that I've always been on is like, if you modify a lightsaber, it's now your lightsaber. Even though it still has the original kyber crystal in it. Now, a lot of people complain about this because finding a kyber crystal is so integral to a Jedi's journey and blah, blah, blah. I don't think it is. And necessarily, we haven't really seen Sabine use the Force. We've only seen her kind of wield a lightsaber not that well. So, her modifying Ezra's lightsaber, but still having the original kyber crystal is not weird at all. And it makes complete sense, right? So, for Hu Yang to even say that was just amazing. I was like, yes. It was once Anakin's, then it was Luke's, and now it was Rey's lightsaber. It's different lightsaber. The same lightsaber can be passed on from Jedi to Jedi, and I don't think we've just seen that enough for people to get used to that. But I think it's very, very important to Sabine and Ezra's story and to Sabine as a character. She's not just using Ezra's lightsaber, she's using her own. And even though she didn't get it or build it like a Jedi, it is still her own lightsaber. Also, the cut hair scene was very, very powerful. Someone showed a video that was very reminiscent of Kanan's cutting hair type thing where he was kneeling in front of like a table, and I just felt like Dave knows what the hell he's doing. Like, wow, that's just, it's like poetry, it rhymes. And that was a powerful scene for Sabine. You felt her just chopping off all of this weight. And I know something about, you know, what cutting hair means to a person and how they identify themselves. And for me, that scene was very, very powerful and very respectful in a way of almost knowing that it's not just Sabine's experience, it's everyone's experience. Everyone needs to grow. And with Sabine, it's cutting her hair and putting back on that Mandalorian armor and moving on to try to find Ezra instead of wallowing in self-pity that she could not save him. And it was a very, very powerful scene. When they said Cornelia, I completely jumped up. I was like, oh, Cornelian Shipyard? Oh. So, very, very excited. I was like almost kind of hoping to like see Leia and Han. I know that's so stupid and you're all probably rolling your eyes. But like, okay, that would have been like really freaking cool. So, did not happen though. But the Cornelia Shipyard and the New Republic and all of that, and just how the New Republic speaks is just they always speak like they're super selfish and they're better than everyone. And it's very, very interesting to me because I think they're still trying to get into people's minds that no, the Empire was like not good, the New Republic's so much better. And with a lot of these real world regimes, you have, from the previous regime, you have people from there that are still getting their money and still doing shady type deals and still sympathize with the original regime. And I loved him saying just a whole bunch of like, oh, well, you know, products and a whole bunch of these ships are broken down and used for New Republic ships. And even Hera with the hyperdrive, she was like, we don't have a ship that big. Like, we wouldn't need a ship like that because the war is over. Which, see, that's really interesting too, because the New Republic is preparing for a war. They know it's going to happen, and they know that they're turning a blind eye to the First Order, the Imperial remnants. But my theory, which is very real world, is that they want another war so profits and the economy cannot crash in several planets. Ooh. And that was kind of my thought process when he was talking about profits and buyers and how many people actually get their pay or get their resources from these old Imperial ships and from the work that old Imperials do. And it's very, very interesting to me. And one of the main reasons why the First Order rose. And I love when Dave Filoni tackles politics because he, say it again, we believe in Dave Filoni. And Dave Filoni we trust. But he knows what the hell he's doing with politics. And the First Order didn't just rise and have so many sympathizers with just like, oh yeah, no, we're just Empire 2.0 and like the New Republic's a little stupid, so we're just gonna do whatever the hell we want. No, that's not how it works. And it wasn't even shown like that in Force Awakens. Now, of course, we didn't get much time with the First Order besides on Starkiller Base. But it's so much bigger, and if you listen back to Hux's speech, guys, I have to mention him in every video, I'm sorry, but if you listen back to his speech, it really does lay out the flaws of the New Republic, and the New Republic supporting the resistance behind the backs of the people, getting ready for a war. So they were already planning, and, you know, yeah, it's really interesting. I gotta, like, take a look back at that speech and, like, actually break it down. That would be a fun video. But it's very interesting to me with how stupid the New Republic is and how basically it's still full of Imperial sympathizers. And yes, we have Mon Mothma. Yes, at the time, I believe, we have Leia Organa. We have these amazing people that really do want to help the New Republic and do want to put them back on track. But as the Senate failed before, if you're all trying to agree on something, nothing gets done. You don't have, like, really a say in one thing or another if you're all just kind of voting on it, which is not necessarily bad, but with you, when you have a lot of Imperial sympathizers and you're voting to use the deconstruction of Imperial warships for schools and for the actual planets, of course the Imperials are not going to want that and want them to go into their buyers' pockets. And yeah, so very, very important on the political side. And I think that people need to realize that the First Order didn't just rise. I mean, they rose from the ashes of the Empire. That's like an official quote. But why? Why did they rise from the Empire? Why was it deemed necessary for them to rise? Not just a whole bunch of people being like, oh, I just miss the Empire, like, oh, I just miss the good old days, and having, well, it is partly having power and control, but it's them basically dictating who gets what and where without going through the process of having a senatorial council. So, very, very excited to see where the New Republic goes and see where the Resistance goes as well, because at the end of Mando Season 3, we got to see Zeb. And I'm living for a reunion with Zeb, Sabine, Hera, Chopper, and Ezra. And then, of course, Kanan would be there in the Force. So, I'm definitely really excited to see where the New Republic, the Resistance, and also where the Imperial sympathizers kind of play in. Really hoping we get to see the Shadow Council. Don't know if it will happen, but, like, come on. They were introduced in Mando Season 3. Like, you gotta bring them in, even if they're on holograms again. Or, like, in person. Oh my god, I would probably pass out and faint. Especially Pelion. I think Pelion actually has to legitimately show up because of his relationship with Thrawn. So, I would be, like I said, I will be very surprised if Salone does not show up or Pelion, like, in the flesh and not just on a hologram. Although I would take Salone on a hologram any day. Just put her in the show. So yeah, and then just the overarching kind of theme of the show of Master and Apprentice, as I kind of touched on before, which is very interesting. And I think every Star Wars media has always had a type thing with Master and Apprentice. You have Phantom Menace, where it was Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and baby Anakin. And then you have Attack of the Clones, where it's major Anakin and Obi-Wan just trying to figure out, like, their relationship and what the heck is going on. Then you have Revenge of the Sith, where you have a new master come in with Palpatine, and Obi-Wan and Anakin fight to the death, Master and Apprentice. Then you have A New Hope, which is Obi-Wan and Luke, or some people argue... Yeah, no, it's Obi-Wan and Luke. Obi-Wan and Luke for A New Hope. And then you have Yoda and Luke for Empire Strikes Back. And then for Return of the Jedi, you have Obi-Wan, Yoda, Darth Vader, Palpatine, and Luke. All at the same time. So, and then you have Force Awakens. Sorry, did not mean to forget about my sequel trilogy. Then you have Force Awakens, which is very much Maz, Rey, and Finn figuring it out. Oh, and Kylo and Snoke. That's a major thing as well with Master and Apprentice. Then you have The Last Jedi, which is Luke Skywalker and Rey. And then you have Snoke and Kylo Ren. And then Rise of Skywalker, you actually have Kylo and Rey. Like, that's a huge thing of, like, Master and Apprentice. Of the whole thing with Kylo is, like, he wants to show Rey the ways of the Sith, the ways of the Jedi, how to find balance in those two. And of course she pushes him off, but that's very much reminiscent of what has happened before with, you know, Master and Apprentice. And also you have Luke there with Rey that talks with her and all of that. So Star Wars is very much about Master and Apprentice and those relationships, and it's going to be really, really exciting to see that put into this type of show. And I'm very excited to see where it goes and how it all works out. So, super, super, super excited. I do just want to say, rest in peace, Ray Stevenson, who plays Baylan Skoll. I loved at the end of episode 1, it was a tribute to Ray, which was amazing. His character in the show is right now by far one of my favorites, and I know I'm gonna love him even more. So I hope he would be proud of what he did with Ahsoka and how many people have seen him and loved his character. And I know he's done a lot of other things before Ahsoka, but I really, really like him in this. So, God rest his soul. Love you, Ray. Thank you so much for contributing to this amazing show. We love you. So yeah, that was episode 1 and 2. I don't know if I really have a prediction for episode 3. I do think Thrawn will show up. I do think that will happen. I don't know if we're going to see Hera again. I think she might be done, but I could be wrong. Maybe she goes up to Zeb and like recruits him. I really could be wrong. I do want to see Thrawn with Ezra. I do want to see how that works out. Where Thrawn is. We've talked about Thrawn for 2 episodes, for 2 hours, and we haven't met Thrawn yet. And I think the general audience needs to meet Thrawn so they know what the hell we're up against, to actually get an understanding of what the heck is going on. So he will probably show up. We will definitely probably see Morgan Elizabeth more with Balin, with Shin, and also like that masked figure. I don't exactly know who that is. I saw a theory that it was like Ezra in disguise that go with them. Honestly, I kind of believe it. So I'm just going to keep thinking it's like Ezra until it takes off the mask. Like, I'm so serious. So that's my theory for that guy. With Ahsoka, I think Ahsoka's and Sabine will still have arguments and still argue. But I think Ahsoka might actually learn something from Sabine. And Sabine might learn something from Ahsoka. And I think that will kind of be the structure for the next 2 to 3 episodes. I don't know how many episodes this series has, actually. I think it's 6. It probably is 6 because it's live action. So, I don't know. We'll see. I really don't have any other predictions. But, yeah. Super exciting. I really, really am liking the show. I don't know if that's just me being biased because I like every new Star Wars. New Star Wars is like absolutely amazing, and I always love, especially when we're in the timeline of after Return of the Jedi, I always kind of hate going back to like right after Revenge of the Sith and focusing on these like Jedi that didn't die from Order 66. No one cares. I'm so done with hearing those stories. I want them to move forward and want to expand the story, and that is what they are doing with Ahsoka. And it seems new and fresh and still taking the old themes of these TV shows and of these movies, but then taking it to a new level and really demonstrating why Ahsoka is such a good character. So anyway, guys, I will end it there. As I said before, super, super excited for the next episode. I will, as I said, be posting every Sunday, till I die. So just turn on notifications for that, or just check in every Sunday because there will be a video posted. Also, I am very much getting the Kylux comic that will release next Friday as of when I'm recording this. So probably watch out a video for that, and I probably will do an Ahsoka like 3 and 4 or 5 or 6 episode combination, because it might just be easier, and then I do one Sunday for that comic because that is very important to me and I have a lot to talk about with that, and I think it will be fun to take a deep dive. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Comment down below your favorite scene from Ahsoka, and I will see you guys in the next one.